live from New York. You all right, big fella?
I know.
Oh, my God.
I got to.
My bad.
Got a water?
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I almost got up out of here early, didn't I?
Man, we need you, baby.
Keep me on my toes. It's a Wednesday after football season. We need you, Willie.
Man, it got dark quick.
Oh, man. I mean, it was 2:59:54,
Yes.
and we thought Willie was going down. All right. Willie Colon, Greg Jennings, I am here for now. Who knows what happens over the next 3 hours? We got a jam-packed show for you today, including there's a reason we're talking about this, not just for me. But what is Caleb Williams' ceiling? You guys know I think it's high. But what about one of the best defensive players in football? He weighed in. We will as well. Also, Willie's favorite topic. Can the Eagles' offense be fixed if they just run it back? And are they planning to run it back? One of the people most plugged into the organization says he knows what they want to do this offseason. Also, don't look now. Dr. Danny got a smock. Adding elements to the costume. I will diagnose all the ailments facing the NFC South and AFC South over the course of the show. This week, we're going through every division in football. You feeling good?
I'm better.
Honestly, you're fine. Dr. Danny's in the house.
I need another doctor.
You need a qualified MD?
You might want to have another doctor.
Yeah.
Questioning my credentials.
Not at all, but that's a big fella right there.
Framed diploma on the wall from Clown College. Let's begin with today's show. We begin. He's a two-time All-Pro. He is Maxx Crosby, and yes, he also has a podcast. And Willie noticed that he's like, it seems like everybody has a podcast. It's original. They spent a lot of time with Caleb Williams as his guest talking about their mutual admiration, their love of competition, and Crosby also praised Caleb's talent and his future. Let's take a listen.
Just to be open and honest, bro, like we talked about it earlier, but respect.
Yeah,
at a different level, bro. You're one of those guys for sure, and you're just getting started.
Yep.
I don't even know you understand yet how good you can be.
Yeah.
And that's the scariest part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just keep that mindset, keep doing what you're doing.
So you guys tell me if I'm wish casting here, and I maybe am a little bit.
Bears fan talking.
I listen, everybody has biases. The people you can trust are the ones who admit their biases to you.
Facts.
Okay? So I will admit my bias here. But I think Max Crosby plays week 1 next year on the Bears.
Oh, wow.
I just think there is, for a while now, there has been a admiration from Crosby towards Caleb, Crosby towards the Bears. He talked about him on his podcast earlier in the season, seemingly unprompted. They'd played against each other. He complimented Caleb. Jay Glazer said that Crosby was done with the Raiders. Crosby hasn't confirmed that, but he also hasn't gone out of his way to deny it. Bill Barnwell came out and said, DJ Moore and a first-round pick for Max Crosby. You give Mendoza a number 1 receiver. You give them more draft capital. You give the Bears an edge there. The Bears' last general manager traded multiple draft picks for Khalil Mack. This general manager, Ryan Poles, traded a second-round pick for Montez Sweat.
Right.
Their first-round pick is at the very bottom of the first round. It's not like a premium pick, so it's not as difficult to part with it. They need a pass rush desperately. Like I just think there are so many fit, vibe, connect the dots. Like Drake May wasn't on his podcast. Like Bo Nix wasn't on his podcast. Caleb was on his podcast. So I legitimately believe Max Crosby will be a Bear by week 1. Do you?
So I believe that he wants to be a Bear or anywhere outside of Oakland.
Vegas, you're good.
Vegas. I just don't believe that it's going to happen. Like, and the reason why I say I don't think it's going to happen is because when you get a new coach, a new regime, they're going to want to at least have something to hold on to. Now, obviously, it was a little different with Khalil Mack. We were all shocked. This is a little different. If Max Crosby comes out and doubles down.
Oh, listen, it was a lot different with Khalil Mack because they hadn't paid Khalil
Correct.
Mack. They've paid
but
Max
being
Crosby.
that he just got paid less than a year ago,
Yep.
I just don't see them just allowing him to just go away or trade him away and get some assets that are okay, but not awesome. Like DJ Moore had a couple down years. Not saying he's not a really good receiver. He's a good receiver, especially when you go to a team that doesn't have that at all. But I just don't see that working out for Maxx Crosby because you have a young quarterback or a young head coach coming in who wants to establish something, have an identity somewhere, look in the locker room and say, that's one of our guys. Can you be the voice of the locker room? That's always been Maxx Crosby when we look at the Las Vegas Raiders.
I agree. I definitely think he's a pillar for the Las Vegas Raiders, but I also think if you're Dennis Allen, you're jumping on a desk to go get Maxx Crosby because I think if you get him, this signals that you're making a championship push. And I also think if you're Dennis Allen right now, defensive coordinator for the Bears, you understand, as you just mentioned, that means you don't have to blitz as more, right? You have a closer, and you have somebody right now that sets the tone on the edge. But if you're Maxx Crosby, you finally, if you land in Chicago, have a quarterback you believe in, right? He's never had that. And so you talk about his ability to be a Bear, I think it helps all parties involved because if you're the Raiders right now, what's one place you're deficient at? The receiver position, right? So if you're able to make that trade between Crosby and DJ Moore, I think right now if you're the Bears, it elevates you defensively. Especially you got to think about too. I know you know this, DP. If they lose Jaquan Brisker, I mean, that's going to be a major hole in their secondary. So you're going to have to get home with your front four instead of blitzing like Dennis Allen likes to do. I think it makes sense. I wouldn't mind it. I think it's a sexy pickup. And the Bears, I hate to say it, they're going to be must-see TV.
Listen, they already got Caleb. They're must-see TV already. They are box office. But listen, I'm a big baseball fan. There's nothing more meaningless than a great closer on a bad baseball team. Because why are you trying to save games on a 75-win team?
Yeah.
A great pass rusher is kind of football's equivalent of a closer.
100%.
You get a lead, you force the other team into drop-back situations, passing situations, and then you have your defensive end, your edge rushers, tee off on the other team's quarterback, close out the games. I don't want to see great closers, great pass rushers on bad football teams. And Maxx Crosby, he's an all-effort guy. He plays over 95% of the snaps. He doesn't come off the field. And at the end of the year, in a lost season, he wanted to play. And they shut him down.
Well, he was dealing with a knee issue, too.
Well, but
they were trying to preserve him.
But he wanted to play.
Yeah, but if there are talks about letting him go, you want him to be primed and ready to go, right? You don't want a team to say, like, well, I like him, but look at the knee.
But I guess that's kind of my point. Like, if Crosby wanted to play, they shut him down.
Yeah.
Jay Glazer says that was like the final straw and made Crosby be done with the Raiders. And if the Raiders were like, we can't risk Maxx Crosby getting really hurt in these meaningless games, like I think it's very on the table that, yes, it would be a blow to Clint Kubiak coming in and the identity of the Raiders.
Correct.
But if it's time for a youth movement in Vegas, time to move on.
And this is why I bring up Clint Kubiak, because once you acquire a different head coach, a new regime comes in, now it's incumbent upon them to not necessarily sell themselves because he's on the team, but sell him the message or get him to buy into, look, I didn't subscribe to what they were doing last year. I wasn't a part of what they were doing last year. This is how we view you. This is what we desire for you to be for us moving forward and how you fit into our success moving forward and down the road. That's what Clint Kubiak is tasked with. Now, we understand what they don't have in Maxx Crosby desiring other opportunities. And as a fan, former player, as a fan, wanting to see the best play in meaningful games, important games, we're feeling as though we're being robbed of that with several players across the league, Maxx Crosby being one of them. It would be great to see him on a roster that has a shot to play in the postseason where we can see Maxx Crosby and all that he has provided that organization on display on the best stages that we have in the postseason. But I just don't see the Raiders building and saying, you know what, we'll probably build without you.
I just think that you have to be honest with yourself. Can you build the Raiders into a contender fast enough where Crosby is still in his prime?
No.
Like I think that's
you can't. But this is why, if you're Maxx Crosby, you go in the offseason as you are currently in, and you sit down with the powers that be and say, hey man, I've done everything you asked me to do, right? I wasn't a distraction when the team was bad. I've stepped on, I've been the face of this team and this defense. allow me to put a cap on my career, because we look at so many ball players, a la Joe Thomas, who one of the best offensive linemen I ever seen, loved everything about his game. But he dwindles in history because he played on the Cleveland Browns. He didn't win in the playoffs. He never had an opportunity at a Super Bowl. So you just look at him solely as a great player who's a gold jacket guy, by the way, but not a Super Bowl champion. If you're Max Crosby and you went through all this stuff with the Raiders, you want to finish your career with an opportunity to hopefully win a Super Bowl. You're not going to get that done in Las Vegas.
No, you will not. But let's now discuss the substance of what Crosby said about Caleb. We know the highlights, we know the prospect level, we know the accolades, and now he is with Ben Johnson. But I know how I feel about Caleb, but again, I will go last this time because, again, I will admit my bias. When I ask you, Willie, Caleb Williams' ceiling, his ceiling is what?
So listen, he has the opportunity to be an MVP in this league. He has the opportunity to win playoff games and potentially a Super Bowl. My biggest gripe with Caleb Williams is his play style. I think right now we know he can make every throw on the field. We know he has the ability to wear the cape, but he doesn't live with boring football. He struggles with that. That's the thing that's going to hold him back from being the guy. I think if he can learn to make those boring throws automatic on top of the dynamic throws being optional, that's a complete quarterback to me. He struggles in that moment. I go back down to that last drive, DP. I mean, we saw one of the best throws. I mean, you probably jumped out of your underwear when he made that throw back in the end zone to commit. And then the last drive, all he has to do is dink his dunk all the way to the end zone. He throws a pick. And I'm saying, man, it didn't feel real in the moment. So I feel like that moment, that window, could be Caleb Williams' career if he's not willing to live in the boring times, if he's not willing to be boring when you just have to be efficient and a game manager. If he can get over that, I can see him potentially be a two-time MVP, a Super Bowl, and wearing a gold jacket one day.
So I'm going to say what I believe that his ceiling is. Obviously MVP, I'm with you on that, a guy that can put on a gold jacket, all those things. But Patrick Mahomes, although his career started very different, he came out the gates blazing. He wasn't a boring player either. He was very sexy. It was very dramatic. And then once Tyreek left, he had to, I don't want to say he had to learn. He decided that, you know what, I have to play a different way to start sustaining drive. Taking the dinks and the dunks and the different things that allow you to possess the ball a little longer. It changed how they looked for a minute, but it made him a more effective quarterback for the long run. As it pertains to Caleb Williams, as somebody who looks at him from the opposite side, if you will, as a Green Bay guy, I've said this, he's scary, and he has the opportunity to not only be an MVP, be a top 5 quarterback next year when you look at the growth. And I'll put some numbers up here and show you some stats that will support this. When you look at his rookie year, which wasn't a terrible year, you know this, you can speak to this, to the growth that he had this year. And I know we harp on his completion percentage. I believe he will address that. But passing yards increased, yards per completion, that was drastic. The points per game, the difference, the third down conversions, that's sustaining drive, that's knowing where to go with the football, having options and actually going through your processes and making sure that you keep and possess the ball. Those were areas of growth that
doesn't even show the sack number.
It doesn't.
Which is maybe the biggest improvement year over year.
Absolutely. And I look at that, and yes, he had a dip in his completion percentage, but he was asked to do so much more. He was challenged to play on time for a period of time. And then it was like, you know what, you got to be yourself, but find a way to try to balance the two to where when we need it, we know you can do it, but you're going to have to be able, to your point, play a clean brand of football to where you're playing with timing, you're playing with rhythm, because that's what's going to give you the longevity of your career. However, all that being said, he different. he is different. And I hate to say it, He is just different. And if he gets those things, which with Ben Johnson in 1 year, we saw the growth. We look at their offense, mind you, let me talk to Willie, because I don't even like talking. Like,
I'm enjoying.
Everyone pretty much on their offense from a skill position is young. So they're all going to grow together. Loveland, we're talking about Rome.
Yeah, no, I know. That's
they're
why it's
all
exciting.
going to grow together.
See,
this could be very scary.
I strategically wanted you guys to go first because when you say he could be a 2-time MVP and wear a gold jacket, and you say he's scary, and he's like, yeah, absolutely. It's like, if I say that, I'm a homer. But I'm like,
well, let me say this. I note that he can possibly be a 2-time MVP because I can see him winning 12 to 14 games a season.
Yeah.
And to be an MVP, you got to win games. I see him winning those many games in the next 3 years.
Wild sometimes makes fun of me for how much I like to talk about my eye test. And like, it's like, I just watch a lot of sports, but then I also know the numbers. And so I truly try very hard to blend the two things together. And when I watch this guy and then I watch the rest of the league, I literally, every time I watch him, I'm like, can 3 guys in the world do what he just did? Can one guy do that? It's like, oh, wow. Well, that's like a Lamar play with his feet, but then that's a Josh Allen play with his arm, and then that's a Mahomes play. I legitimately, Greg, and you played with him, and then you watched him this year for the Steelers, but a very different version. I'm like, I have always compared him to Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. He has insane arm strength, plus athleticism and mobility. He's a killer, and he doesn't turn the ball over. And so that combination gave one of the greatest seasons I've ever seen. The Aaron Rodgers 45 touchdowns, 6 interceptions season in 2011. It's one of the greatest quarterback seasons of all time. And if you just look at the start to Caleb's career, again, it hasn't all been perfect, and it's been multiple coaches and multiple play callers, and he took way too many sacks. But in terms of putting the ball in the end zone and not turning the ball over, it is a remarkable start. Now listen, Mahomes is
that is ridiculous.
Mahomes is completely insane. But now you got to remember he also did sit his first year, so his first 34 games were basically year 2 and year 3, as opposed to starting from jump. But still, Mahomes is completely insane. But he is just, to me, it is very clear that if we're talking about ceiling, so it's not a guarantee that he will reach it, but what if he reaches his 99% outcome, what is he? He's the best player in football. His talent is there. And then when you combine it with his coaching, Burden, Odunze, they're bringing back their whole offensive line. We think they've got a top 5 offensive coach in the sport. So I think that is why you hear Tom Brady talk about him like he does. Max Crosby talk about him like he does. By the second half of the season, every game, the opponents were either when they were mic'd up or on the record, just being like, how did he do that?
But I also think we have to, 2 things. 1, Ben Johnson, give him a lot of credit, as you just mentioned. 2, he has a run game, right? Monungai Swift elevated that offense as a stabilizer.
But that comes with Ben Johnson.
3, if we're being serious about it, they have to start a lot faster. So many of his games that he showed up in the second half, he didn't play all 4 quarters. So you talk about growth, that's where he has to start a lot faster. Because too many times he had to depend on him late minutes to kind of carry his team or have a heroic throw to kind of get out of the building. All those things, to your point, Greg, if you want a complete quarterback, he's going to have to polish those things up.
Exactly. I agree. There are no guarantees here, but if he does, that's his ceiling.
And the reason why I sit here, and you talk about Aaron Rodgers, and I had the opportunity, obviously, to play with him. Those type of individuals, and I used to say this all the time when people used to ask me about, is he the best player in the league, Aaron Rodgers being he? And I'm like, yes, because there's things that he can do that nobody else can, but all the things that everybody else can do, he can do it. That's Caleb Williams. He possesses the things that you cannot teach.
Right.
And he has them in abundance.
The it factor.
And so as long as he continues to have the desire to learn and grow, it is going to be, this is what we saw last year. And I know we saw it with the Washington Commanders and Jaden. It looked different the way that Caleb was doing it last year, because it was, and this is no knock on Jaden, because I still think he's phenomenal if he can stay healthy and all the things. If he can be challenged to manage what we're going to do in terms of all the motions, all the pre-snaps, and struggle the way that we all saw at the beginning of the season, embrace it, know it. We spoke to Ben Johnson on a couple different occasions, and he said it's going to be growing pains. Yeah. It's going to be a process. It's not going to be great. It wasn't all off season. We saw a lot of interceptions in practice. If he has the mentality of, I'm going to do and try every single thing in practice and use practice for what we should use practice for to get better, to try out new things. If that's his approach, he's going to be the best player in the game.
I love hearing a Packer say that. Oh, man, I'm going to make that segment my ringtone. To be a long ringtone.
I mean, I'm going to be realistic.
Yeah, I'm going to
be honest.
All right, let's talk Philly here for a little bit because Derek Gunn, he covers the Eagles very closely, and he went on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philly Sports Radio. And, of course, he gets asked the question of the moment and the week and the month and the year in Philly. What are the Eagles' intentions with A.J. Brown? Take a listen.
Let me emphasize, as we sit here right now talking, the Eagles want A.J. Brown in an Eagles uniform in 2026. I believe he never really wanted to get out of town. He wears his emotions on his sleeves. He was frustrated, not with just him not getting the ball more, but with the offense being as inconsistent as it was. The weird thing is, as inconsistent as that offense was, this team still won 11 games, and they won the division. So the talent is there. They just have to find a way to get that consistency back like they had in 2024.
All right, so he says that the Eagles want A.J. Brown back, and they've got to get back to being consistent. Are the inconsistent issues, are they fixable next year in Philly?
Well, it's going to be tough, and I agree with him. They have the talent. The problem is they need a weekly identity. We watched this team through all season. We didn't know who they were week in and week out, right? And I think a large part of it because they scored 46 touchdowns, but they gave up 34, right? They struggled. They always got outgained. They struggled to get first downs, but they gave up a lot of first downs. It was just a seesaw production from the Eagles. I think right now, I have a graphic right here to show you some of the issues. Look, last on third down. It's solely because they couldn't win on first down, and when they got to third down, they were so predictable that defense just sat back and said, hey, we're going to allow Jalen Hurts to beat us. It didn't happen. They didn't have a run game. The offensive line had a lot of issues, and they struggled, and they took a big decline in the run game. And defensively, man, I thought they were going to be better against stopping the run. When they lost, I underestimated how much Milton Williams meant to that defensive line. Like, he was a big factor. And now it was a lot of pressure put on Jalen Carter. He was banged up. Jordan Davis was in and out. They didn't get the type of production I thought they were going to have this year, and they struggled. So I think a lot of their inconsistencies come from they don't have an offensive structure that can benefit or help what they have right now. And defensively, they need more help on that defensive line. So all those things are fixable, but I don't know if they can right now, but it starts with Jalen Hurts by far.
So with Eric Dunn, I'm with him 100%. They should want A.J. Brown back. And I've said this, like, you don't get rid of a player that brings that amount of value to your offense and to your team. He's just the vocal one. And so we focus on him a lot. Having said that, they're not as inconsistent as we depict them to be. It's the run game. They fix the run game, they're just fine. Like their passing game numbers, a little bit better because they were forced to do that a lot more. But when I show you these numbers, and you had their yards per game ranks, but from 24, the season that they won it, this is who they were as a rushing offense. Obviously, points per game, they were up. They could run the ball better than almost anybody in the game. Yards per rush, up. Rush yards per game, up. Like, that was their identity. It was a clear identity. This is still their identity. They just couldn't do it at the level of which they did it in the Super Bowl run year. And if they can get healthy, if they can find out who they're going to have on that offensive line, if Lane Johnson's, if he's going to retire, if he's coming back, what we have moving forward, and if we can be healthy and have a 2024 Saquon Barkley behind Jalen Hurts, they will be just fine.
Well, I tend to agree with you because we talk a lot about A.J. Brown because he's fun to talk about.
Yes.
He gives us a lot of time.
He gives it.
You might not find it fun. I find it fun.
Well, I'm going to tell you, if I was in his locker room as an offensive line, as you just highlighted, that's struggling, right? Like, you talk about Lane Johnson being 36, you talk about Jurgens and Dickinson, both guys dealing with surgeries. Their play have declined. The fact that we have to talk about our receiver, right, who, by the way, is healthy. 2, he's upset with Jalen Hurts. And 3, the reason why we're struggling right now is because we're not playing our best. So it feels like instead of us addressing the necessary answers, we're addressing somebody who's upset with not getting the ball.
Well, yeah,
he's
upset. He's upset at the inconsistencies. Like, if you get rid of A.J. Brown, you are shooting the messenger because his message was accurate. His message was, and you do not get better losing A.J. Brown. So I think it's entertaining as someone who doesn't have a dog in the fight. Like, he's reading a book, he's calling him out, he's talking about, don't trade me off your fantasy team while he's playing Madden. Like, I'm here for the harmless anarchy of sports. But, like, are they fixable? Yeah, we're a year removed from them blitzing the league. And so while I personally think that Jalen Hurts is an extremely limited quarterback, if he gets back to having the best offensive line in football, right, which they were 2 years ago, the best running back in football, which Saquon was 2 years ago, and a top 3 wide receiver duo, which they were 2 years ago, well then yeah, they'll be a consistent offense again with basically anybody playing quarterback.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I don't expect them to fix it. I don't think they will fix all of those things. They've changed offensive coordinators again. But is it fixable? All of those guys are still in their athletic prime in terms of the skill position that I do think it is fixable.
Well, I think I missed on my point. I was saying that the offensive line played their tails off as much as they could. They fought through injuries. It feels like one guy, because he's not getting his production, is not appreciating what the guys outside of him were trying to do to win games.
Well, no, listen, I know it drove you insane how much we were talking about A.J. Brown off the field, and I was just like, I don't care. We're going to put it in the show. Because it was Instagram, it was Twitter, it was Madden, it was Twitch.
But he's not going to change, DP.
I know. I don't want him to change.
And neither do they.
They want him to catch the ball.
Absolute. Thank you, Danny.
Throw me the damn ball. Dr. Danny in the house. It's that time of the show, though. Dr. Danny in the house, where I diagnose the ailments of each team around the NFL, and then I prescribe what would get them back to full health. Right now, by the end of the week, we will get through every division. It's time for the NFC South. Got my diploma. You need a diploma.
The hat
on
is
the
a
wall
lot.
above me.
I appreciate the hat.
It's a good-looking hat. Thank you very much.
Commit to the bit.
NFC South, I got all my charts, I got all my patience, but we begin with the last place team, the New Orleans Saints. As I look through this, New Orleans has had a hard time paying the bills. They have had the worst cap position in the NFL by far, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But you've got a marquee player in Chris Olave. Yes, I see he's had some concussion issues in his past, but Tyler Shough and him seem to really connect. Sign your guys who you want to sign early to keep yourself in a good cap space. So I would sign Chris Olave now. It's the first time he is extension eligible. In the games with Tyler Shough as the starter, he had 6 touchdowns in 8 games. He had a career season. If you look to what the Saints' cap position is now going forward, they're almost out of it. Right now, still 6th fewest cap space. Not great. But next year, 9th most, 2028, slated to have the 2nd most. They are almost there. So if you want to give out big money contracts, you want to do that earlier than later, you can spread out the cap hits a little bit, I would keep Chris Olave in New Orleans long term.
Yeah, you definitely want to keep Chris Olave, and I'm sure he's gone. You've seen him several times for those concussions, so you passed.
Yeah, I mean, I cleared him as an independent neurological examiner.
Yeah, but when you have a quarterback, a young quarterback specifically, obviously a young play caller, head coach, and Kellen Moore, you want to keep that nucleus together because you can grow with that. That becomes kind of your pillar of your offense, your foundational pieces of your offense. If they can keep that, build around that, they will have something moving forward. Obviously, the Saints fans don't like the way they ended the season, but they like what they saw out of Shough and obviously Olave, that connection.
Well, if you believe in Shough, you better give him some offensive line help. They gave him 49 sacks last year. So he may not make it through the season. I think, nevertheless, man.
They got a lot of issues.
They got to clean this up. Defensively, they can't stop a nosebleed, so they got issues.
You a doctor, too?
Hey,
I'm prescribed. Doctor's assistant. My man, I like it. My next patient is the Atlanta Falcons. And this is like a person who only works out one muscle group. Michael Penix. You need to learn how to be a complete quarterback. You can only do a couple of things, and they hired Kevin Stefanski, I think, to teach him this. This kind of, when I watched, I was like, man, he throws outside the numbers. He throws downfield and outside the numbers. So I had my research assistant, Troy. I was like, how many times this year did Michael Penix throw between the hashes, like straight up the middle of the field? 10. All season.
Wow.
10 pass attempts.
That's going to be a bit of a problem.
I mean, you look at this guy's spray
Troy,
chart.
Is this right?
It's 10. Now, listen, just strictly between the hash marks, so it's a narrow lens. But still, the guy doesn't throw to the whole field. So how can you get Bijan everywhere? How can you get Pitts everywhere? How can you get Drake London? You brought in Kevin Stefanski to figure out if you can make Michael Penix a complete quarterback, Willie.
Yeah, and it's interesting because they have a lot of young talent, man, but they don't scare nobody offensively, and I think you just proved why. Solely, and they only average 23 points offensively, which is, when you're talking about Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, they should be lighting it up. They're not getting it done, so that's a hell of a stat there, DP.
Yeah, they have talent defensively. Obviously, they got to see what they got at the quarterback position with Michael Penix Jr. They have a decision to make, too, with Kyle Pitts. What are you going to do with him? Because he did have a good season last year, kind of finally started to bud a little bit.
It was great at the end.
What are you going to do with that type of investment? He was a first-round pick.
Any fantasy football player knows that Kyle Pitts finally had great games in the playoffs. It had been years. It had been years for those of us who had drafted him. My next patient, I play fantasy football. It doesn't affect my integrity as a doctor, is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you had a lot of injuries on the offensive side of the ball, but I'm feeling like you're going to be okay there. You guys are all trending towards recovery. So find some defensive difference makers here. Todd Bowles, going to be on a hot seat, I'm not sure. But if you look at names we know, notable players on the Bucs defense, they're aging out. I mean, we'll see if Levante David even comes back. Vita Vea last year of his deal. Hassan Reddick, Deion Jones, James, all pending free agents. It was a very big surprise, at least to this doctor of football, that they drafted Emeka Egbuka last year. He was a very nice player. He had a great season, but I was like, well, they had Godwin, they had Evans. I thought it was a luxury pick to add a receiver. You got to get younger and infuse some speed on the defensive side of the ball in Tampa.
Yeah, you definitely got to do that. Obviously, we know who you got at safety in Winfield Jr. He's a staple on that defense. But when you look at the head coach and when your identity is defense, that can't happen. You have to invest in your defense. We've seen it in Pittsburgh. We see it with every defensive-minded coach. We see it with the offensive-minded coach. You can't allow your side of the ball to be one of the major reasons why we fail as an organization.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, they allowed 411 points. Not good if you need some help with that, DP. Write that down.
Check your math on that.
But I also think when you talk about the aging defense, one of the things that they struggled to because of their age, they couldn't close games, right? Baker had them in winning position. Go back to that game against the Falcons. They were winning. They were up 2 touchdowns late in the season against Kirk Cousins, and they couldn't close out that game. I think when you talk about the Bucs right now, as much as we want to talk about the aging players and their lack of production on the defensive side of the ball, they may be dealing with a culture problem. Like, Todd Bowles called this defense out. He said, you got to care about your job. I don't know if we have enough guys on that side of the ball that care about their job and being the best they can be. So they're going to have to figure out the character in that locker room, because I think the division right now between the Panthers, the Saints, is going to be different. I don't think it's going to be the NFC South we just kind of just laugh about anymore.
It's always wide open. It's always bunched up. So the last patient of the NFC South you mentioned, the Carolina Panthers. And this is, your rates are spiking all over the place. A lot of highs, a lot of lows. And I would just say I wouldn't commit to something this inconsistent, because you got a decision to make on Bryce Young. He's extension eligible. That draft class is now extension eligible. I would certainly not pay him long term. I'd be fine if you decided to give the 5th-year option, if you wanted to control his contract beyond this year, because I do think, he showed little flashes there. But do not commit to Bryce Young long term. I know there's a lot of talk of that in Carolina. We can show where he ranked. They're trying to turn it around. My gut tells me he doesn't even get that 5th-year option, but these numbers are not good enough. Those are ranks out of 33 qualified quarterbacks over the course of last year. And also the measurables in this chart. Like, call me biased, but there's just a little too much Tua in there. Like, you're Kyler Murray. You're small. You're small. You are a small guy to play that position in the NFL. And so, I know it's been better than it was, but I wouldn't commit.
Well, those ranks were improvement.
That's what I'm saying.
They were improvement.
That's right.
And it's scary to know that was improvement. Look, he's still a young player. I can't even make excuses for him, because it's past due time for him to really show that he can be the guy in this offense. He's going to have an opportunity this year to see what he can do. I think they'll give him the opportunity, but not extending him, I don't even think that's on there to do.
Well, listen, when you draft a guy number 1 overall and you trade up to get him, and then he's extension eligible, it's a disaster if you don't want him.
Based off of the eye test and what we've seen, no.
I'm with you.
So, okay, just for clarification, his production was bad because he didn't have anything around him. Like, he didn't have any offensive line help. They just got Rico Dotto. The run game played better. He beat Matthew Stafford, by the way, this year. right?
did.
Like we've seen him show up in some games and look like
Ted
a
McMillan
functional.
was great.
He looked like a functional quarterback. So now that you've given him some weapons, some proper offensive line, and you have a defense that's starting to play better, led by Derrick Brown, I'm sorry, I would commit to Bryce Young. I would say, hey, young fella, as long as we continue to build around what you can do well, let's see where this thing goes. Because who do you have behind him? Nobody. Are you going to now go into the draft and say, all right, let's go pluck us a franchise quarterback? No. Give him an opportunity. He's been in the mud. He has risen from the mud. He showed you late in the season that you match him up against an MVP quarterback at Stafford, he can knuckle up. He beat the Rams. That means something. So between the receiving core, the offensive line, Rico Dowdle, a defense that's doing better, yeah, commit to him because he's showing you he can overcome adversity. That's pretty much his legacy right now. I would not get rid of Bryce Young.
That's all great. I mean, it's compelling case.
It's not about compelling. It's true.
Like,
where am I wrong?
Compelling, and
Tell
it's
me,
heartfelt.
where am I wrong?
It's heartfelt. As a receiver, I'm just gonna be
Here
honest.
we go.
Because I know
receiver.
I know your take is always get him some offensive linemen.
Hold up. If you can protect the quarterback and you give him time and he shows you production and positivity and he's a functional game manager, you win ball games.
There's a lot of quarterbacks that I've seen that didn't have protection. Caleb didn't have a great offensive line his first year.
And you brought him some.
But I'm just saying, but we saw something. We saw flashes. Even in his first year.
You telling me this year you didn't see nothing out of Bryce Young that said that's a positive?
But it's his third year is what he's saying.
Okay, Josh Allen wasn't a guy until his third year. It took him to kind of boil them down.
But we saw major flashes. We saw things that was like, oh, that was great. Man, I don't know if anybody can do that. Tell me something, and I'm not trying to bash Bryce Young, but tell me what he does that you can't go somewhere else and get.
Where are you going to go? That's my point.
Anywhere. Did you see them? Can we put the numbers up again?
You can't even say where you're going. Listen, if you allow the young man to grow, you just acknowledge he's a young quarterback.
Look at these numbers.
You just also acknowledge there's no talent around. You brought him into an organization that was depleted, that didn't have anything left around him. So now that we're starting to build around him, now we're going to say, okay, let's go get a new quarterback. You have a receiver. You got proper offensive line play. You got a running back. You got a defense. Allow the man cook. It's year 3. We live in this microwave society where we want, boop, throw him in there, meal cook. That's not how the NFL works. Young quarterbacks need time to develop. If you don't give them time,
they do.
Then you're not going to.
They do. They chose not to give them time. They've made a lot of investments on these draft picks. They need a return. He hasn't brought a return on the investment. I'm not willing. If I'm the Carolina Panthers, and yes, we won the division kind of by default.
Oh, here we go. But we're knocking the guy for winning. It takes an opportunity. You got to fight to get there, just to have the opportunity.
You're right. I'm not going to knock him for winning because it's a team sport. Like it wasn't all on Bryce Young. They had great team success this year. How about we say that? But I'm not going to credit Bryce Young for the emergence of the Carolina Panthers finally making
you can't also knock him that the reason he's not there either.
Man, we should talk Panthers more.
But my point is,
that's what I'm thinking. This is a third rail issue. I like it. I don't know about great team success losing at home in the wild card round. I don't know if it's great team success.
Were they in the playoffs?
They were in the playoffs.
Did they have a shot late in the game?
Yeah.
That's
the Steelers mentality. Did we make the playoffs but have no shot?
You got to be in the room to have a shot, DP.
Apparently. Coming up, the weirdest and the most wonderful, including a 3-second quote from maybe my favorite athlete ever.
That's how I'm swatting that take from Willie right there. Get that junk out of here.
That's what you think.
Final thing with you in regards to your recovery. Is the Masters off the table for you?
No.
Oh, yeah. He even smiled. The smirk said enough for me.
Willie.
And what did it say?
It said, like, I'm saying it, but I don't know if I necessarily believe it. This guy's coming off back surgery. We haven't seen him since 2004, and we expect him to play 24, excuse me. Thank you, DP. And we're expecting him to play 72 holes at the Masters in April, starting April 9th. And he's already, like, I feel like he's saying it I think he's trolling. Can I say that? Is that fair?
You're allowed to say it, and then I'm allowed to disagree with you. You go right ahead.
Because I have a different perspective. Like, for me, the fact that he said it, I don't believe that he's going to do it. If he does, I know he won't finish. However, I'm locked in. If Tiger Woods is saying that he's going to potentially be in the Masters, everybody's going to be locked in.
Opens a conversation if he's done or not.
I wanted to lead the show with that smirk. Okay, I could do 3 hours on that smirk. Tiger Woods, I was thinking about it. So child of the 90s in Chicago, Michael Jordan made me fall in love with basketball, going to games with my mom and dad. He's greatest athlete of all time, greatest athlete in my life. But I stopped playing basketball in high school.
Why?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean,
isn't that surprising? But like Tiger Woods, I will play golf until I'm not able to walk anymore. Like
yes.
I truly believe that there is no American athlete who means more to their sport than Tiger Woods means to golf. Like I think he means more to golf than Michael Jordan means to basketball. Like more than LeBron means to basketball.
I agree with that.
He is. It's like a Caitlin Clark to women's basketball. Like bringing new generations of people, getting new people to play a new sport, all sorts of things. And so like, can he win? I think his days of winning on the PGA Tour are over. Yeah. I think it's too old, the Achilles, too many back surgeries. I think winning is over. But if he plays at the Masters, he's got the record for 24 consecutive cuts made. I'm locked in to see if he can make it a 25th.
I just want to know what's the why. Like, what does he have to?
Just because he is the most competitive athlete we've ever seen.
But it's
that simple.
I don't negate that. My thing is, I don't want to see. We've seen enough bad of Tiger Woods. Like we've seen him like crawl off the course. Like I think that's.
And I saw him win a U.S. Open on a broken leg. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so he's like the anything is possible athlete,
exactly.
Even if we know, like, in our brain that it's not possible.
And it's that part.
I just like seeing. I like seeing him out there, man.
Yeah, I mean, it comes. Thursday, it's all about him.
Fine, great. Friday, all about him.
And to be honest, if you are on the tour and Tiger shows up and he's playing, that's just more of an opportunity for you. Now the world is now watching. Obviously, you feel like I'm better than Tiger right now with what he can provide, but as a viewer, I don't care. I want to see Tiger.
I want to see my heroes cry. I feel like he goes out there, throws his back out. You have to bring a stretcher out.
And
I'm on the gurney.
I'll be disappointed. And I'll be walking away saying, man, if he didn't hurt his back, he had a chance to make the cut.
Well, and like Willie, like I've seen that before too.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
And how did you enjoy it? It hurts.
It does, but there is something about Tiger and the resiliency and the comebacks, and like the guy's got literally over $1 billion. He has no reason, after countless spinal fusion surgeries, to keep trying to grind it up, to tee it up. He said at that press conference that even if he got an exemption to ride in a cart, he would not do it on a PGA Tour event. He's like, I would do it on the Champions Tour, but he will not do it on a PGA event. So yeah, he will be trying to walk 72 holes at Augusta against Rory and Scotty and all those guys. And he is basically drawing dead to win the tournament. But it's Tiger. And so I'll be like, and also just for the game, like I'll watch him play on a simulator. Yeah. I'll watch him be the Ryder Cup captain. I'll watch him in a cart on the Champions Tour.
Is there any? And I'm just throwing this out there, so don't come from my head. But it's a fair question. It's a question that's into. Are you afraid of him embarrassing himself? Right. Like that for me, I don't want to see Tiger embarrassed.
So
he's 50 years old, man.
Yeah.
I don't think that exists anymore.
For me, it's more of, it's not even about him winning it. It's because we've seen him have just a moment, a shot. And it's like, if there is anybody that can still pull off a moment, a shot, where he just captivates everyone.
Can he chip in at 16 at Augusta again? Yeah, of course.
Just a shot. It's not even about can you win it. You're just waiting for something.
Yeah, I think you play to win the game.
No,
I feel like you don't have an honest shot. What are we really doing here?
Yeah, but it's golf, man. You can play it. You know, Gary Player will tee it up. Jack Nicklaus would tee it up. The old timers will tee it up because they get exempt into these tournaments and they know they can't win. Yeah. But they're the legends. He'll play with Charlie one day. In these events when his son is eligible to make it.
Listen, I understand more than ever being an athlete, as we all are. I'll throw you in there, DP.
Wow, that's very kind.
I understand the mindset of never wanting to tap, right?
Just like a couple of athletes.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Anybody's ever seen me walk, I walk down the stairs like Frankenstein, right? My knees are shot. But in my mind, I still I can give it a go. But at the end of the day, when you put on your cleats and your pads, you go out there with them young boys and the guys who are actually doing it, you're like, man, I want to sit my old butt down and enjoy the sunsets, right? Like, that's what I feel like Tiger should do. I'm glad that he wants to compete. I'm glad he feels like he still has that itch. But, dog, we've seen this episode. Like, we know how this is going to end.
That's fine.
I'm with Danny on that. I'm fully on your side with this one.
I'll watch Tiger Woods for the next 25 Masters, and I will be locked in.
With a back brace.
Yeah, fine. I wish you would ride in the cart. Like, if they'll give him a cart, ride in the cart, Tiger. I want to see you play golf, man. Hour number 2, hanging out. Willie said we just were 3 athletes talking Tiger. You know what I mean? Listen, between the 3 of us, we have 2 Super Bowl championships.
The silence is definitely.
Exactly.
Well, you said you played high school ball. That's why I was giving you a little.
Yeah, I mean, intramural. Thank you.
Gotta start somewhere.
State champion on the debate team, 2005 Illinois state champ.
A win's a win.
Look it up. We have a busy second hour of First Things First. As we come out of the All-Star break, of course, it is time to talk Lakers, contenders or pretenders. Big names, not a whole heck of a lot of defense, though, in Los Angeles. But LeBron James himself weighed in on the matter. He's always honest. Coming up, which team will make a Bears-like leap this year? So I can't pick the Bears because they already made a leap. And it's pretty much just my football dream that I can compare other teams to a positive thing that happened with the Chicago Bears. But we begin the hour with the top NFL storylines that I want to see happen.
You want to see.
These are not the biggest stories necessarily, but like if I could be the czar of the NFL and just say this would be good for the league, this would be good for the league, in terms of watchability and my own interest, top 5 things this offseason that I would like to see happen. You guys tell me if you agree or disagree. First up, we began in Kansas City, and I want to see the Chiefs use this 9th pick on a weapon for Patrick Mahomes. I understand the argument, best player available at a premium position, and if that happens to be a pass rusher, and you think that Reuben Bain from Miami can be Von Miller, that helps Patrick Mahomes also, and obviously Von Miller's going to be a Hall of Famer, and I get you would not pass on it, so I don't need to hear that argument in the comments. I understand. It feels to me like, given that he is coming off of an injury, Kelsey, whether he retires now or in the future, this is at most one more season with him. Rashee Rice, more legal issues potentially around the corner. Patrick Mahomes has not put up MVP caliber stats in 4 years. It's been since 2022. I feel like you owe it to him to use this rare time to try to find him a weapon. Whether that is Jeremiah Love, whether that is Carnell Tate if he falls, the kid from Ohio State, whether it's the other guy from Arizona State that people think could be a top 10 receiver. I know Brett Veach will say I'm just going to take the best player available, but I feel like he legitimately owes it to Patrick Mahomes to give him a weapon on offense.
Look, I've been saying Jeremiah Love because I want to see Patrick Mahomes supported. I want to see him get the help. I understand the need for an edge rusher to assist that defense, to assist Chris Jones, all those things. I totally get all that. But when you talk about a quarterback, you just laid it out, coming off an injury, we've seen their offense kind of stumble out of the blocks every single year for the last 3 years. And it's like, wow, can they get something from someone? We were waiting, Rashee Rice gets back, oh, he's going to be the guy. And it just never really turned into what we believed it to be. If you can get, could you imagine Jeremiah Love being that guy that obviously is down in Atlanta with the Falcons and Bijan Robinson, over in Santa Clara with CMC, like Jahmyr Gibbs. If he has an opportunity to have that type of weapon on his side, in his backfield, where he can hand it off and or give a little automatic completion to an extension of the run game, it's a no-brainer in my mind. You help your quarterback. Those sacks, those worries about him taking an extra hit, they're gone.
You just dump it off.
You just dump it off.
I know. Let me guess. Right tackle?
Boom. You nailed it.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't make sense. You got a 30-year-old quarterback coming off an ACL injury. we don't know what type of version of Patrick Mahomes we're going to get. He needs offensive line help. If you talk about all the success that he's had and currently is dealing with, a large part of that is he's taking some unnecessary hits. His process has been sped up because of a weak offensive line. He's going to need help. I love Patrick Mahomes. I think obviously one of the best to ever do it. Yada, yada, yada. But we have an opportunity, the Chiefs have an opportunity to secure him, right? And the only way to secure him is by giving him protection. I don't knock. He needs help on the outside to give you all that. But we used to seeing Patrick Mahomes upright, not running for his life. So the one way to do that is a very good tackle draft. It's a very good offensive lineman draft. Drafting offensive lineman.
It's a unique opportunity for him right there. And I will remind you, they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Didn't work out. Last pick of the first round.
They did.
Andy Reid once upon a time had Brian Westbrook. I do think that he's the type of coach who would take a running back that high. Next storyline that I want to see this offseason, and this is a little bit of a cheat, but I'm lumping all three of these pass rushers together. Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, Trey Hendrickson. I want them all to find new homes.
I like that.
And I'd put it at somewhere around 0% that Trey Hendrickson is back in Cincinnati. So I know I'm going to get one of the three. We talked about Crosby earlier. Go ahead.
I think a caveat has to be in the new home can't be to any of those teams that.
Yeah, they can't replace each other. Yeah, Trey Hendrickson can't go to Vegas. Yeah, that and I said it with Crosby, and I'll say it again. I don't like great pass rushers on bad teams. I understand that it's a salary cap sport, and everyone's trying to build, and you can go worst to first, but it really bothers me. And not in like a Wilds, when Wilds talks about Myles Garrett, he's like, he had 5 sacks against the Patriots, but they lost, so how valuable is a sack? It's just that it feels so wasted when the whole thing should be try to close out wins from play out in front. So I hope all three of these guys move this offseason.
I love that. I would love to see Max Crosby either land on the Bears or the Bucks. I think those would be two good destinations where he'll eat at. I said it earlier, I would love to see Myles Garrett go to the Star. Find your way to Dallas. If Jerry Jones somehow can make it happen, that team right now, they go from being a team that could potentially win a division.
They're a Micah Parsons away.
I'm saying that between Quentin Williams, that defense, all was shown if they can find some help on the back end. You have a new defensive corner in Christian Parker, who I think he said it, we've heard it on this show, he's a defensive savant. You got to give him something. If you don't give him an elevated play that can elevate the defense, you're going to get the same result. So I think a big splash like a Myles Garrett to Dallas could be everything. So I love the headline.
So I like this. I would like to see each one of them not only go to a different destination, but go to a destination where they know that they're not going to be solo pass rushing. Like, they have somebody. So, like, for instance, I want to see one of these guys in Detroit.
Ooh,
Aiden Hutchinson. With Aiden Hutchinson. I want to see somebody with Aiden, like either Trey. Obviously, the talks was about Myles a couple years ago. Like, Max, could you imagine one of these guys with Aiden Hutchinson?
Would Montez Sweat suffice for you? Crosby opposite Montez Sweat in Chicago?
No, it's a softer blow if it goes to Detroit.
I got you.
I can't do that.
I get
but
it.
I'm with you on this storyline. I would like to see these guys in a different location. I just I doubt if. Well, Hendrickson, yeah.
Yeah, Hendrickson.
But the other two,
Cincinnati's telegraphed it. Crosby, if you believe Jay Glazer, he says it's happening. Garrett probably locked him in with that contract, but still, like, I don't see the point. I don't see the point. You can't build Cleveland into a contender fast enough for Max Crosby to get there. All right, let's get to this next one, and I think you'll enjoy this one, Greg. I want Malik Willis to keep the band together in Miami.
Okay.
Well, so the Dolphins not only hired Jeff Hafley, the Packers defensive coordinator, they also hired John Eric Sullivan out of their front office.
Yeah.
So it's a Packers front office guy, a Packers defensive coordinator, and I just believe that Malik Willis is one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the world. I don't know that he is a 10-year starter franchise like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes difference maker, and Miami is going to be bad next year, so this might end up being a bridge. So he might choose a spot that has another weapon or two. But I think that if they choose to bring him, they know him better than anyone else. It will be a sign that they really believe in him. And I thought it was incredible that Jordan Love went down, and we've seen it a couple of times over the last 2 years. And Malik Willis has looked good. So I firmly believe that this guy can be a starter in the league.
Yeah, it's interesting to have someone who's evaluating the talent and trying to bring talent in, and then a coach who's seeing them on the field every single day running the opponent's offense and you having to defend him. And Jeff Hafley, obviously the defensive coordinator with the Packers last year, Malik Willis was going to be running the scout team offense every single day. So, like, to know what you're getting and to believe in what you're getting, to not have to question what you're getting, yeah, this would be an ideal move for Malik as well as those two, because they know exactly what their investment would be and what it should look like.
Yeah, I hate it.
Okay.
Yeah, I hate it.
Thank you for letting me down softly.
The Dolphins don't have an offensive line.
Oh,
Tyreek
my
Hill
God.
just left the building.
We should
They
just
don't
put
have a
offensive
run
line
game.
on there.
So you mean
And
you think
what
Malik
I'm
Willis
saying
could go to a better option?
The Jets. They should go to the Jets. You talk about a head coach and Aaron Glenn who's hungry. They have pieces. They have a really good offensive line. You got to run it back in Breece Hall. Frank Wright is going to be the new OC. He knows how to develop quarterback. Garrett Wilson on the outside. You have a young tight end in Mason Taylor. There's weapons and opportunity, and he will be protected. Young fellow Malik Willis, come to New York. Listen to Uncle Willie. Come to New York. They need you.
So that on paper, no.
We're all going off paper.
It sounds great. If I'm Malik and I come from Tennessee and then I find myself in Green Bay backing up Jordan Love and seeing the difference of cultures and seeing how things are run.
You think Miami has a better culture? In New York?
Yes.
You think the Miami Dolphins have a better culture than the New York Jets? The team that pretty much had an open rebellion against Mike McDaniels? When guys talk about they were disrespecting their head coach in his face, the fact that he got fired is because he lost the locker room. And you would tell me the Dolphins have a better culture than the Jets? My brother, I love you, but please.
So tell me the last time. They're in the same division, correct?
That's right. You're speaking to somebody who covers the Jets.
And tell me the last quarterback that has been over there with you guys in the Jets in that green that has had some type of success.
We're not talking about now. I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about right now.
Yeah, so am
right
I.
now.
Can we agree that they just both have bad
They
cultures?
both stink.
Okay.
But if you're talking about a culture that's better
just keep it
and
honest.
has a higher trajectory for Malik Willis, it's the New York Jets. The Dolphins don't have anybody. They're in cap hell. They don't even know how to figure they're going to unload Tua.
Well, listen, I think the argument would be that they're going to bring in Green Bay's culture to Miami. But Malik Willis might say that there's a better option than both these teams out there. But there's a lot of familiarity in Miami, so that's where I think he's going to end up. But I like him for the Jets. I just want to see him start. I think he can do it. Next headline. I want to see Will Anderson become the highest paid defensive player in the history of the NFL. This guy, Myles Garrett is the best defensive player, and he signed that contract. He got the 4-year, $160 million, $123.5 guaranteed, and then he set the sack record. I get that Myles Garrett is the best defensive player in football, but Will Anderson Jr. is the second best, and he is much younger, and he's up for a deal. Like it's the year where that draft class can start to get paid, and I would not pay Bryce Young long term, and I would not pay C.J. Stroud long term.
Damn right.
But I'd pay the third overall pick long term. Like I would, and Houston has a pretty successful track record of signing their guys early, and when they first come extension eligible, they're like the exact opposite of the Dallas Cowboys in that way. And so maybe signing him early, you don't have to top Garrett, though my gut tells me that you will. Look at the pressure percentage that Will Anderson has put up the last 2 seasons. This is a big sample size here. He is between the 2 highest paid defensive players in the history of football, Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons. A little bit higher than Myles Garrett in terms of pressure percentage. So, look, these guys all get paid a ton of money. Not trying to pocket watch on anybody. I'm rooting for him to get the bag. But honestly, I think people still somehow underrate him, even though he was the best player on the best defense.
Yeah, it's because he has a complete defense. When you look at both of those guys,
Danielle Hunter, Stingley, Lattimore,
the back end, they're such a complete defense. And
he's ridiculous, though, man.
He definitely is. He's the heartbeat of that defense. You take him away, and that defense looks a lot different. He's deserving of it. He's earned it. Should they do it? Absolutely. Do I want them to do it? Absolutely. If they can find a way to hold on to some of these, because they're young too.
Yeah.
So it's like you pay him that much money, and you are not going to be able to hold on to some of these other guys. and your defense starts to look a lot different.
But I mean, he's
the guy,
right? Like him one, Stingley two, and then everybody else you figure it out, right? Best edge rusher, best corner.
That's why they have general managers to figure that type of stuff.
I should be everyone's general manager. I got a lot of good ideas.
Yeah, I don't hate it. It makes sense to me. I mean, you reward young talent and somebody who can be the face of your defense. You know, Donnell Helmer's getting a little long in the tooth. You got Sheldon Rankins, who's up there. He's a little long in the tooth. He's going to be the leader in the face with a very good secondary led by Stingley, so it makes sense.
The other thing is people, not to do too much cap on TV, because people's eyes can glaze over, but people, it's like, man, you sign them to the big deal, that's going to hurt your cap. Like, yes and no. Like, you want to know how much you are going to pay these people. Like, because, like, the longer it goes, the more leverage the player has. Sure. Like, I mean, we just saw a story today, right? Patrick Mahomes signed early, and then he immediately restructures. Mm-hmm. You guys need to free up some cap space? You're willing to write me a bonus check? Cool. Restructure, open up the cap. So, like, locking up elite talent the moment they are eligible to be locked up, that's never bad business. Even at first blush, you're like, ooh, that was $175 million we just committed to one player. Like, in 2 years, that ages very well.
Well, you also want to do it because he's a man of good character. They speak highly about him. You know what I mean? Like, not to call out names, but there's questions about George Pickens' character, right? So that's why people don't want to sign him long term. This kid, since he left Alabama, has been a grade A, so you want to reward that.
All right, so I think there's a real shot that he tops Myles Garrett this offseason. All right, last one. This one's we'll see if you guys agree. We got a receiver on desk. We talk Lamar all the time. I want Lamar to get his wide receiver one, and Alec Pierce is the name that I am circling. Because they've got the 14th pick in the draft, so I could see them using that pick on a receiver depending on how it goes. But Zay Flowers cannot be your number one anymore. And Lamar is going to run less. Whether it's this year, next year, the year after, it's already trending in that direction. And I do not think that they are about to trade for an A.J. Brown. I think we are going to talk about that all offseason, then it ultimately will not happen. Right? We're going to talk about George Pickens getting traded, and then my gut tells me it's not going to happen. Alec Pierce is going to hit free agency because I think they're going to have to put the tag on Daniel Jones in order to secure him, to work out his contract extension, which means Alec Pierce is going to hit free agency, which means 15 teams are going to call. So if you sign Lamar Jackson to lower his cap hit, you've got plenty of cap space. You need to work on the interior of your offensive line. No doubt. I'm not forgetting it. You got to bring back Linderbaum if you can. But I don't see how you go into the next phase of Lamar's prime, which should still be excellent, and not upgrade wide receiver one. Alec Pierce is 25 years old. Mm-hmm. He's coming off the best season of his career, played 15 games, had all sorts of different things that happen with quarterbacks, jumps off the film, obviously a very supreme talent. I want to see it. I want to see Lamar with a true number one.
I agree. I just don't see the Colts letting him out the building. That's unfortunate because I think when you talk, I could see them let go of Michael Pittman Jr., but not him because of the youth and production and potentially, listen, if you're going to bring back Daniel Jones and you're going to franchise tag him, you're going to need somebody outside of Tyler Warren to be your guy. He's been in the system. I like where you're at, DP. I just don't see it happening. See the Colts.
So I got a name that I feel like works. And you can argue, is he a true number one? Can he be a number one? I believe he can be a number one. Health is a concern. Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs is, because he played with so many other guys, he's not looked at and viewed as a number one guy. He will be available. Obviously, you have so many guys on that Green Bay roster, you're not bringing him back. He's going to be available. He's not going to be as high of a price as some of these other guys. You can probably get him at a lower number. In the production, he can bring it.
Do you think he's a better player than Alec Pierce? Because I do not.
So I don't know if he's a better player. But can he? He
might be easier to get.
Definitely, I believe he's easier to get, and you can get kind of the same type of production. Knowing that you got Zay Flowers, he's a big target as well. But
I think the Ravens it's been interesting. Like, they have so much talent, but they have, the whole time, they have not found a true one. Like Zay Flowers, it was a first-round pick, and he's a nice route runner. But he's not a one.
Yeah, but
like DeAndre Hopkins, way past his prime. Tight ends, running back. They go get a one.
A one is necessary, but they also have to figure out what they're going to do without what they're going to do with Isaiah Likely. Like he, for me, is a big part. I mean, we go back to the last game against the Steelers. Who caught that ball deep with 14 seconds left in the game? Isaiah Likely, right?
He's great.
He's a security blanket next to Mark Andrews that's big for Lamar Jackson. So I agree, they need a number one, but Likely would be, offensive line Likely would be my two major concerns going into this offseason.
A lot of teams are going to try to talk about finding a number one, and maybe only one or two end up changing teams. It's going to be tough for everyone to get what they need. But coming up, these guys get to experience the coolest stuff in the game. Wemby is surging. Basketball edition? Oh, my. This is going to be cool. Gentlemen, you are in for a treat. It's been a while since you guys have been a part of Packed Stats. They're the coolest. They're so cool. And it felt like it was time to do a little NBA edition of Packed Stats as we come out of the All-Star break. How do you know that the stats are cool? Because they come, Willie, in a briefcase. And does anyone look cooler than me?
This is a lot. Like I've seen you in a suit, but this is ultra cool Danny P.
So you're saying it's too cool?
It may be too cool.
Impossible.
And the lights.
Impossible. It just got cooler. But you know what else is cool?
What's that?
Aliens. Woo! Victor Wembanyama. He's an alien. How do I know that? The Joker, Nikola Jokic, at the All-Star game asked him to sign his jersey, and he wrote his name, and then he was like, can you put the little alien? Look, it's a true story. That's the Joker asking Wemby to sign his autograph with the alien logo.
That's how you know it's real.
Aliens are cool.
I don't know if there's
I believe in
anything
aliens.
tougher than that.
Right? That is pretty badass. Hey, I'm the best player in the world, but can you please sign your name as an alien?
And you can draw.
And I don't know if you've been on the internet, but somewhat former president confirmed aliens are real. Victor Wembanyama, he is dominating already.
Yes.
Top 5 player in the sport, but not just with his stats, with wins. The Spurs are 7-1. This is a pretty cool stat. Against top 3 seeds in each conference. Everybody knows, and it's gotten a lot of attention, that they're 4-1 against the Thunder, but they're also 1-0 against Willie's Knicks. They're 1-0 against the Celtics, and they're 1-0 against the Nuggets. And they play the Detroit Pistons, the other top 3 seed that they haven't played yet. They play them on Monday. I believe that this is a sign that they actually can make a legitimate run in the playoffs. What say you?
Yeah, they definitely can. The thing about watching this team is they're so young. I feel like they still don't play through Wembanyama the way that I would think that they should play through them. And again, this is me, but when you have a guy who is just unguardable.
Brew feels the same way. Brew wants him to get a lot, like higher usage, more touches,
yes,
that sort of thing.
And he should. He's deserving. They share the ball almost too well. And I know that sounds strange. They have the depth. They obviously have the talent. But when you have a guy who is literally an alien, something we've never seen, you play through that until you need other things. And knowing that you have those other things. Now, this is a good team. They have depth. They can shoot the ball. They can go inside and out. They got guys that can create their own shot. Like, they have a lot of things that are going to allow them to make a deep playoff run. And he's obviously one of the most important pieces.
Yeah, I agree, Greg. I mean, Wemby's a cheat code, hands down. I also believe right now, you talk about youth. That's the only thing I've seen them really kind of stubbing their toe on, that the fact that they don't have youth going against a veteran outfit like the Denver Nuggets or possibly OKC. Nevertheless, you talk about what he does well, he can take over games, man. I mean, his impact in the All-Star game and how he's going to play in the second half of the season is going to be big. I like the fact that he shows up with maturity, he's gritty, he's tough, and there's a system. I think the fact that the Spurs have an option. They can run through a system or they just give him the ball and let him eat. I think he's a big-time player. There's
an old adage, right, that you have to, like, crawl, walk, run in the NBA. You got to make the playoffs, then you got to maybe win a series or two before you're ready to, like, break through. And I think that is, like, a totally reasonable thing, and all of NBA history belies it. But he's 7'7". Like, you know, like, if he's 7'7" and no one can solve him, I don't know how good they can be this quickly, because I think Dylan Harper is also exponentially getting better as you watch him play. They are a very scary team, and they have come to play against the best teams in the league.
The lights are getting me.
You know what else was cool?
What's cool, Danny?
starting fights amongst your friends?
I'm a big fan of that.
I know you are, Willie. You got in a lot of fights. Well, I'm going to start a fight with these two gentlemen here on the desk because Willie's New York Knicks have a real problem with Greg's Detroit basketball Pistons. The Knicks, they've been a great offense.
No lies.
Would rank 6th in the NBA if they played everybody other than Detroit.
No lies told.
But Detroit's playing harder than every team in the NBA, and they're only averaging 85. Open the second half of the season, I should say. Tomorrow night, Knicks Pistons Part 3. Jalen Brunson has really struggled in the couple of games against Detroit so far this year. Willie, how do you explain this cool stat?
Well, listen, it's unfortunate we tend to struggle against the Pistons. Tonight's going to be a big game. We'll see how we respond coming out of the break. Nevertheless, man, I talked about it a little bit yesterday. We need Cat to show up. I like that we've added more defense. I think the biggest key for the Knicks is we got to push the pace, right? I think we got to get to them before they get back with that help defense they show up with. I'm a big fan of Brunson, but sometimes the ball can get a little stagnant with him. If we can get Mikal Bridges, OG, and all those guys back into play as a team, we have a shot right now. But listen, I credit Detroit. They're really good, man.
Yeah, well, so this is what it is, Danny.
This is for you, Greg.
Detroit plays a physical brand of football. Everybody wants to start to say,
Football, basketball.
Football, basketball. I hear you continuously saying they play hard. They play hard. They're playing harder than everybody. Yeah, that's just who they are.
Oh.
All I'm saying is,
I know what you're saying. Regular season, they're putting out a better.
They're putting out a playoff effort in the regular season, which happens to young teams all the time, and then everybody else gives a max effort in the playoffs, and it tends to shrink the gap.
When you are a young team, this is what you want to see out of a young team, especially against some of the elite caliber teams. Against the New York Knicks, you know what they bring. You played them in the 7-game series last year. Like, you know what they are. And you talk about being stagnant. Detroit has the length to where they can contest. They can make it uncomfortable for Jalen Brunson. And I know a lot of people think that they can make it uncomfortable for Jalen. But he tends to get to his spot, get his shots off. Against Detroit, they don't allow him to do all those things. And so in Cat, I watched Cat for years in Minnesota. I love Cat. I'm glad he's over here in New York.
Well, I'm just saying, as you bask in the Piston glory, let's not forget what the Pistons' playoff resume looks like versus the New York Knicks. Like, you just know the resume, right? Like, it's good, as you stated, what you look like in regular season, but it counts in the playoffs. And in the playoffs, they go home early while we move along. So I just want
When's the last Knicks championship?
I was going to ask that.
When was the last Pistons championship?
04?
Sooner than yours.
All right.
More recent than yours.
Doesn't matter.
Stats, please.
Oh, you guys know what else is cool?
They suck.
You know what else is cool? Being like Mike. I want to be like Mike. Cooper Flagg, he's on a list with guys who you know by one name. Luka, Mike, and Larry. Rookie seasons last 50 years averaged more than 20 a night, more than 6 boards a night, and more than 4 assists. And listen, shout out to LeBron. He fell just short of the rebound threshold, or LeBron would have been on this graphic too. Obviously an incredible rookie season. But I actually think that because Dallas is so bad and because Wembanyama has been so good, that Cooper Flagg's rookie season is being under-discussed. He is an insanely versatile basketball player, and he entered the league at within 9 days the same age as LeBron James, except he was seasoned with a year of college basketball. Like, he's unbelievably good already.
So the interesting thing about Cooper Flagg is when we started the season, he's playing point guard, and I'm watching just like everybody else, and I'm like, he looked uncomfortable. Now you can see the plan that they had was to get him comfortable, get him acclimated with bringing the ball up the court, feeling that type of pressure. He can do whatever he wants now. He has grown into the type of player that can get his shot, that can create for himself, create for others, set your offense up, get it started. Like, it's been impressive to watch him. And the most impressive thing is, when you made that trade for Luka Doncic, everybody immediately was like, man, why would you trade that? Why would you make that trade? I was one of those guys. I don't know if he can come in and produce on the offensive end in the volume that Luka is able to. Now, he's not there yet, but he is showing flashes that he can be that guy.
Well, and they didn't know that they were going to get Cooper Flagg when they traded Luka.
Well, I'm saying I know that part, but
they lucked into him being a replacement.
They definitely did with the lottery and everything. But now that you have him, you didn't expect him to be as potent offensively in scoring in volume the way that he does and has most recently. Like, he has been special.
Well, I agree with you. I think we knew. I've been watching him since he's been in high school. I mean, it was well documented when he played in that scrimmage game against the USA team when LeBron was there that he showed up in a major way. And it was like, man, this kid has that it factor. Now you see him with Jason Kidd, and you see them build around him. That's why you send Anthony Davis up the road. When you talk about Cooper Flagg, man, him possibly being the best two-way player in the game right now, at this age, at his age, without a doubt. I think when you move forward, man, what's going to be crucial for his development, man, is can he now, on the defensive side of the ball, have a bigger impact? It's just as big as he having on the offensive side.
We'll see if that ever comes. You want some cool gloves? Want some leather gloves?
They're not going to fit.
Yes, you're probably right. All right, time now as we move forward here. Talk a little LeBron in a minute, but it's time now for Afternoon Headlines, sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Yesterday on LeBron's Mind the Game podcast, hosted by LeBron James and Steve Nash, LeBron, he gave his thoughts on the state of the Lakers at the All-Star break. Take a listen.
When I'm talking about, like, what for our team to be, it's not the trying to get his numbers. It's about how can we get enough minutes and chemistry on the floor and reps, like, okay, this is what our fourth quarter lineup looks like. This is, how we end the quarters. A lot of games are won, in the last minute and a half of quarters. For us to be, I think 11 games, 12 games over 500 right now, top 6 seed in the West, I think it's pretty damn good under the situation that we've been in. But we got to keep going, because the West, it changes every day.
So listen, any team with LeBron and Luka and Austin Reeves, and you play in LA in that spotlight, and you're top 6 seed in the tougher conference, I understand why this question is being asked. Contenders, pretenders. Can I ask it a little bit differently? Does anyone view them as contenders? Like, can they win?
No.
I would say no also.
I mean, no. I mean, I don't see it, man. They struggle to rebound the ball, and defensively they're not very good. And you talk about the way Denver Nuggets are playing without Jokic once he gets rolling, on top of the way OKC looks once they get SGA. I mean, I just think right now LeBron's calling for them to gel. I don't think they have enough time to gel. And I think the way this team is trending right now, I just don't see it, man. But hey, they're 6th in the West right now.
Yeah, and it's bunched up to LeBron's point. And I don't want to dismiss them because we saw Luka. The argument against it is, well, we saw Luka carry a Mavs team to the final. But that Mavs team with Lively and Washington, there were better defensive athletes and younger players around him. The only path for the Lakers, and it's not completely unreasonable to win a series, to disrupt some things, is I feel like they have to be the best offense in the sport. But
I don't think LeBron believes that, right? Like, you got bounced by OKC. If you took roster to roster, they can't even hold up with OKC. They're younger, way more ranged. Defensive SGA is being compared to Jordan at this point in his career. Like, it's just night and day.
So the hard part with the Lakers is once you get past Luka, Austin Reeves, LeBron, you don't have guaranteed buckets. You don't have the depth. When you look at it, we know the depth that OKC has. You look at the Spurs, they have depth. You look at Denver, now this year, they have depth. You look at the Minnesota Timberwolves, they have depth. Everywhere you look in the Western Conference, there is a wealth of depth until you get to the Lakers, and it's like, well, we have Luka, we have LeBron. Austin Reeves is playing awesome basketball, and we don't play great defense.
Right. They don't play great defense. They're not terribly deep, like you just said, and they're not terribly athletic. And then you talk about, like, Minnesota is big and strong and crazy athletic. Oklahoma City is big and strong and crazy athletic. The Spurs have Lemby and a bunch of young, fast, crazy athletes. And so it's like, it's a real tough ask for them to. I do think that they can win a playoff series depending on a matchup.
Like, can't. I don't think they could beat the Spurs.
What matchup?
Can they get to the 4-5 line? Like if it ended up being Rockets, if it was Rockets-Lakers and the Rockets destroy them on the glass, but the Lakers have a great series from 3.
Like the Rockets are the best rebounding team in the league.
Like
Shane and KD, like they show up.
They would destroy the Lakers' points in the paint and on the glass. They would destroy them. But could you outshoot the Rockets for a 7-game series and win? I think that they probably could if Luka and LeBron are completely dialed. But I think they're drawing dead against the Thunder for sure,
yes.
And I think they're drawing dead against the Nuggets for sure. And then the Spurs probably. So I think they're in a really tough spot.
So you think that they wouldn't draw dead against the Nuggets or the Timberwolves? They would have a shot.
No, I said they're drawing dead against the Nuggets.
And
they're drawing dead against the Thunder. Yeah, I mean the Wolves are not a good matchup for them either.
Yeah,
It's a tough spot, man.
But my point is, LeBron knows that. LeBron's trying to.
He knows.
He also
knows.
His future is in jeopardy, right? Like, we don't know if he's walking or he's staying. Nevertheless, they got to continue to build. I think they should. If I'm the Lakers, man, you got to figure out what you're going to do with no wing presence. Like they need more help on the wing defensively.
Well, that's a problem for next year's team. Who can be the next Bears? A question I never thought I'd ask. Maxx Crosby had Caleb Williams on his podcast. It was a great 68-minute listen. What an easy commute. It flew by today. They're talking about the second season in the league and how the Bears were able to take such a huge year 1 to year 2 jump for Caleb, year 1 to year 2, year 1 under Ben Johnson. Take a listen to Caleb.
I can't not credit to anybody but probably Ben and his staff. The control they had of the situation, the belief and confidence that they had in themselves. Yeah. But also, I mean, they sacrifice to get this thing going. I mean, Ben got hired, and then they were to work immediately.
All right, so these are the new head coaching hires. So the question's basically going to be, which team can make a Bears-like leap next year? And so you can't pick the Bills because they were good. They just had a new coach. The Ravens, I suppose you could pick them, though I would mock you because it's a bit of a cop-out. So you don't necessarily have to be a last-place team, though there's a lot of those to choose from. But, Willie, why don't you go first? Who's the team that could make a Bears-like leap?
Well, hopefully I'm not too on the nose with this one, but I think it's the Giants.
That's going to be a very popular worst to first.
Yeah, I think it's John Harbaugh. You talk about they already have some pieces in place. We know about Jackson Dart. I think the offensive line, the right tackle and right guard, the right guard being Van Rotten. Both of those guys are going into free agency. They got to shore that up. But you have neighbors. I like Theo Johnson at the tight end position. I think I said it earlier. I think they have one of the best front sevens in football. Hopefully you get more production out of Dexter Lawrence. He was dealing with some injuries. Hopefully he comes back into big-time form. But if you're the Giants, you finally have an adult in the room, right? You finally have someone that can run an operation, who's a proven leader. And I think that's, for me, you talk about stepping in the building. He commands the respect. The guys are excited. I think we can see a big leap out of the Giants next year.
I think they're going to be a very popular pick because not only do they get a new coach, but you also get neighbors back.
Yep.
And you get Jackson Dart just being more seasoned, so he's entering the
Hopefully
period
Cam
of his
is healthy.
where he takes a leap. And I've said it before. I'll probably say it 100 times this offseason. I feel like when I watched Jackson Dart, I got kind of sucked up into the highlights and the narrative and the recklessness and the concussions. And then at the end of the year, I went back and the NFL put out this 27-minute thing on all of it, basically highlights and lowlights from every game.
Sure.
That kid is talented.
He
there is it's volatile. It's reckless, but there is a high ceiling football player in there. I have no idea if he will reach his potential, but there is a high ceiling player in there. So I think that's a totally reasonable pick.
I like that pick. Obviously, I think it's going to be a popular pick, but just to add to that really quick, with John Harbaugh having obviously Lamar Jackson coming into the National Football League, being kind of not a similar player, but a run-first guy. Not that Jackson Dart is a run-first guy, but he definitely leaned on his legs. He'll be able to kind of hone in on what he can do best. But my team, probably not going to be a popular pick.
I like it. Go out on a limb.
The Tennessee Titans.
That's a terrible pick. I don't like it.
I know. And I like it. I'm saying this because you got your quarterback, you got your young quarterback. You obviously had the head coach hire, Robert Saleh. he's going to flip that defense, if not immediately, within a year, for sure. We saw it when he came to the Jets. And then you got Brian Daboll, a coordinator who's proven, who knows what he's doing with young talent at the quarterback position. I like that. Then now you don't have a whole lot of pieces.
Oh, right, that part.
Well, but
it's the lack of talent.
However, when you have draft capital and you have money to spend, you can acquire pieces.
Yes,
you have a coach that has a vision, and mind you, let me show you who they had to play last year. They had the toughest schedule in the National Football League. We don't talk about, we ad nauseum talked about the New England Patriots having the easiest schedule in the Look at these teams that they had to play. They had the AFC West. They had the NFC West.
A lot of playoff teams.
Like a lot of playoff teams. And you're talking about a rookie quarterback coming in, being inserted, and asked to go through that gauntlet. Like, you're going to have a tremendous amount of failures, but you're going to learn on the fly, and I think he's going to do that. You obviously have your division, a lot of defenses that he faced this year. Given year 2, with a new coordinator, new system, a coach that's going to solidify who you are identity-wise from a defensive perspective, this is a team that will definitely come to play and will not be the same, would not show the same way that they did this year, and will have a really good chance of just flipping it.
All right, so I'm going to give you guys mine before we get out of here, and that is the Atlanta Falcons. I love the Kevin Stefanski hire.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being Kevin Stefanski and being an offensive coach and going from the weapons he had in Cleveland to the weapons he has in Atlanta. And it is a winnable division, and James Pierce sounds like he's got some serious off-the-field issues, and he was, an impact player for them in their pass rush, so they've got to figure out if their pass rush improvement is sustainable or if it was a one-year thing. But if they can figure out a way to make Michael Penix Jr., coming off of an injury, a real complete quarterback who will actually throw to Drake London, who could be a top 10 receiver, and throw to Kyle Pitts, who's a top 10 tight end, and get Bijan Robinson involved, who's a top 2 or 3 running back. Like, they have the pieces to win with an offensive coaching upgrade. Like, there should be a top 10 offense in Atlanta if you've got a good system and a good quarterback. And I think you hired a good coach to get it out of them if there is anyone in there. So we're all going out on limbs here, and I have no idea if they can turn Penix around. But I do think that the bones of a good team are in place there.
I'm with you. I think it's just the health of Penix. He's coming off his 4th ACL.
That is a problem.
You're talking about a guy who has a lot of upside. Nevertheless, you don't know if you can roll him out there and he can stay upright, right, solely because of the injuries. I like Kevin Stefanski. I thought he was a great, 2-time coach of the year. I think he's going to change things around for him.
One of the side bites from Weird and Wonderful made my week. It's next. It's a productive week here on First Things First as we're bringing all the NFL teams into Dr. Danny's office, and I diagnose what ails them and I prescribe a cure. And so we're doing every division by the end of the week. Today, it is time for the AFC South to come into the office. So I got 4 more patients here, and we will begin with the Tennessee Titans. Because I got to be honest, they got a laundry list of issues. But what I would say is there's some things that are fairly, we'll say, optimistic. There's a little bit of hope, but you got to know if this treatment plan is correct. Okay. So I say all of that to say, is this a fixer-upper or a teardown as we mix analogies between the medical field and your home? You have Brian Daboll as your offensive coordinator. You brought him in because of what he did with Josh Allen. You have Cam Ward. Is Cam Ward good? I honestly don't know. It was a bad draft class when he was the number 1 overall pick. So was he the number 1 overall pick by default? He wouldn't have been the number 1 overall pick, or the number 2 pick, or the number 3 pick. I know that in Caleb's draft. Let's show Cam Ward's stats for last year. And if we remove Week 18 from the equation, in his first 9 games, they were atrocious. The last 7 that he played, it was okay. It showed legitimate signs of progress, especially in the time sacked. Felt like the game was slowing down a little bit for him. At the end of this year, if you know that Cam Ward is that dude, successful season. If you know that he's bad, successful season. Maybe disappointing, but at least you can't go into next year, like a year from now, and be like, man, I don't know if Cam Ward's the guy or not. You talked about this team earlier, Greg, so I'll defer to you here on Cam
So
Ward.
we can put those numbers back up because I look at those numbers and from a different lens and perspective now, especially when you put into account or take into account that they played the most difficult schedule in all of football.
So you think that the last 7 is super encouraging?
Absolutely.
Okay.
When you start a rookie with having to play against the toughest schedule that you have in your league,
Just a lot of
they're
garbage
going
time.
to struggle.
Like,
look at how they had to start. The Denver Broncos defense, the Rams defense at the beginning of the season, which was crazy good.
Texans in week 4.
The Colts were a great team at the beginning of the season. Obviously, the Texans, I can go on and on and on. We understand that. But you look at that second half of that graphic that you had up there, and you see a lot of positive things happening. Him being a little better, him understanding I got to get rid of the ball, knowing where to get rid of the ball. All these things are signs for trending in the right direction. New head coach, new coordinator. I think this team has a lot of voids that they need to fill, but quarterback, I think they believe that they have that guy.
Yeah, I think that's why you go get Brian Daybell, because you feel like it's a fixer-upper. You just need the young fella needs some guidance. But I think with that graphic you showed, he was sacked 38 times early this season, right? And then it
was a lot.
Right, 38 times for a young fella, right? When you don't have O-line protection on top, but you don't have nobody to throw the ball to, that's a lot. But you see what happened when he came out of that Week 10 bye, man. The numbers change, right? Then he does sacks go to 17 times. So I think right now, I think he's growing. I think he has leadership. You get him some weapons. You talked about they have money. Hopefully they spend it on offense and shore up the defense a little bit. But nevertheless, man, what Greg is showing, what you're showing is growth through the season.
Yeah.
So lean on that. You got a pillar, now start building around it.
All right, let's bring the next patient into Dr. Danny's office in the AFC South. And I got in my hands here the chart of the Indianapolis Colts. And they have something that ails them that I got to be honest, there are not a lot of treatment options for. They don't have a lot of options. So you only have one choice. Sign Danny Dimes and go for it. Mix in maybe a little prayer. Because you went all in on Daniel Jones, and then you immediately traded your first-round picks for Sauce Gardner, and then he got hurt. And so Anthony Richardson, he was a top 5 pick. Doesn't seem like he's the answer. You don't have a draft pick to come out of it. Like, I don't see any path forward for Indy other than paying Daniel Jones, committing to him, and hoping that he's the guy. Because, again, through week 13, you can build the case. If we show the numbers through week 13 before the injury, he was really good.
He was cooking.
He was really good. Mm-hmm. And now, would I like to have more than a 13-week sample before I commit 9 figures to a quarterback after trading away first-round pick? Yeah, I would. But you don't have that option. There is one treatment plan for Indianapolis right now.
I would franchise tag him. I really would.
Just do 1 year?
Just do it 1 year. I think because of the injury, honestly. The injury is a lot for me. We don't know when he's going to actually hit the field. You don't want to pay for a guy, commit to a guy who, you only may see him for half of the season. I think you franchise tag him, you give him the money, and then you go into the next year draft looking for your quarterback. It hurts because I think, to your point, prior to that injury, I'm like, man, they got their quarterback, right? Like, Danny Jones has finally arrived. They have all the offensive line, the run game, defense was showing up in major ways. But the injury was really kind of the knife in him. So hopefully, hopefully he comes back. But I would franchise tag him.
Yeah, look, if you're Daniel Jones, you invested so much in your offseason, obviously leaving the way that you left New York, going to Minnesota, learning a little bit, feeling like I'm betting on myself. I'm going to Indy. I want to be able to start somewhere. You started, you had a great season, you get hurt, and you put yourself in this situation. So to your point, if you are management, you're like, man, do I invest a long-term deal on somebody that I don't even know if he's going to even be ready to go next year at all?
But he's young.
I understand that.
He's a pretty good athlete.
But I think he'll start. Like, when he left Minnesota, there was reports that people in the building didn't want to let him go. Like, Minnesota wanted to hold on to him, but everybody was like, well, we got JJ. Let's go all on JJ.
He was not going to be given a chance to just be the starter.
I will be floored if they do anything other than commit to him. I just think that they went down. There was a fork in the road. They went down it, got a little bit of bad luck, and I don't see a way out of it. Next patient is the Houston Texans. And what are you laughing at?
I just want to see what the doctor is going to
You know what the doctor going to say.
Listen,
We all know what the doctor going to say.
I am flabbergasted by the narrative around C.J. Stroud. I do not see how anyone commits to him. They will give him the fifth-year option, and I have no problem with that. But he is extension eligible. If they give him $250 million just because they can and they have a history of signing players early, can we show this is a first 23, last 23, as in games. Yeah. He's played 46 of them. The first 23 are legitimately impressive. I still think his rookie season is one of the most overrated seasons I've ever seen.
You've been consistent with that. You say it all the time.
He didn't throw a lot of picks, and he threw a lot of touchdowns in one game, and everything else was largely unproductive. But fine. Okay, you beat Joe Flacco as a rookie. I guess I have to give you a ton of props for that. I don't know why. But last 23 games, you've been a below-average football player. I think if they give him a 9-figure extension this offseason just because they can, I think it would be crazy. So slow it down. Fifth-year option is totally fine.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I wouldn't pay C.J. Stroud right away. However, I don't believe that his rookie season was overblown. Like any rookie coming into this league and having the success that he was able to have, it is a feat, and it's a phenomenal feat. And he accomplished that. A lot of quarterbacks would love to have those numbers put up as a rookie. But what we've seen since, it's not deserving of a long-term extension. And that's the problem and they know that. They are fully aware. If you are a fan of the Texans, you know why you weren't able to get to the Super Bowl this year. Obviously, injuries, and a large bulk of that pie goes to C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, pack his ass up.
And bring who?
Pack him up, dog.
And bring who?
Pack him up and give him some barbecue and say thank you for your time. C.J. Stroud cost him a Super Bowl this year. And I'm being 100% serious. What happened in that first of all, he shouldn't have beat my Steelers the way he played in that game. But it did, right? That happened. Then you go to New England and you absolutely poop the bed. Bottom line.
You don't have your guy out there.
You go find a guy, especially with the money you have. The issue with C.J. Stroud right now, and I think part of it is that he was sacked a lot early in his career. The protection was really bad. The pieces were in and out. He's done, bro. He's cooked. There's no way if I'm in that front office after what I've seen in the playoff with my number one defense who can travel on the road in New England, and you should have won that game, pack his ass up.
And I thought I was down on him.
Pack him up.
All right, last patient in the AFC South, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Very impressive finish to their season. Not a ton of issues.
I love the Jaguars.
On paper. But I got to say,
what happened?
I am not a miracle worker, but James Gladstone better be. Young general manager comes in, seen as this brilliant guy, makes this hyper-aggressive trade, moving up from 5 to 2. Travis Hunter, I'm going to revolutionize football. He's going to play both ways. They're abandoning that basically after 1 year. You're going to be a full-time corner, maybe a little bit as a wide receiver. You need to find pieces to put yourself over the hump. You got to figure out, most likely on the defensive side of the ball, we'll see if they trade Brian Thomas Jr. This is what you have to work with, though. Because now in Jacksonville, the expectation is go win a Super Bowl.
No question.
You got the third fewest cap space, and you got no first-round picks because of the things that you did.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to figure out a trade. You got to restructure contracts. You got to hit on mid-round picks. James Gladstone, your first big swing did not work in Travis Hunter. So now you got to be a miracle worker here because Liam Cohen worked some miracles last year. Now, if you want to get over the hump, you're going to need some help from your front office.
Yeah, for me, you got to sign Travis Etienne back. You got to figure out what you're going to do with Devin Lloyd. It's okay to send Craig Newsome down the road because you're telling Travis Hunter he's going to play more corner for you. Nevertheless, that defense has to stay intact. But I'm with you. You got to figure out something in the draft that can elevate that offense because I think Brian Thomas Jr. was a no-show for you. If you're able to do that, Jags are going to the Super Bowl.
Wow. Early Super Bowl pick from Willie.
They were my dark horse last year.
They came on very strong.
A lot of these things will be answered. Great quarterback play. Consistent quarterback play, they'll be great.
Well, they nailed it with their coach hire. Liam
Cohen
Cohen seems like a great coach.
If that continues to trend in that direction, they're going to be a really tough team to beat.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and Travis Hunter, I'm still really rooting for him. I hope he plays both ways, but man, it's going to be, if he is just a full-time corner,
LIG it.
He is going to have to be great in order to justify that trade up.